I can't believe you, Ryan. After everything I have done for you, you go behind my back like this. Jungkook, your husband, who is calm most of the time, who never gets angry, were now standing in front of you. His eyes were burning with anger. You looked at him in disbelief because whatever he was mad about doesn't even make sense to you, and you never thought he would make an issue out of such a thing. Come on, Jungkook, you're acting like I did something horrible. It wasn't even a big deal. You're blowing this way out of proportion. You said with the same intensity. Today things really went serious. Not a big deal, he repeated. His voice rose as he ran a hand through his hair. You didn't even tell me you were meeting him. I had to find out from someone else. Do you have any idea how that feels? You clenched your fist trying to stay calm, but the way he was speaking made your blood boil. He's just a client, Jungkook. It was for work. I didn't tell you because I know you would react like this. He stepped closer while his eyes narrowed. Exactly, that's the problem. You hid it from me. I shouldn't have to hear from someone else that my wife is having lunch with another man, work-related or not. I didn't hide anything. I just didn't think it was necessary to mention every little detail of my day. You trust me, don't you? Your voice was shaking because of anger. That's not the point, Ryan. The point is you kept it from me. You made a choice not to tell me, and that's what hurts. I've never kept anything from you. I've always been honest, and I expect the same from you. Your chest tightened as you struggled to find the right words. As if I never tell you anything, right? You're acting like I cheated on you or something. It was a business lunch, that's all. Are you really going to hold that against me? Jungkook's jaw clenched as he took a deep breath, trying to regain control of his emotions. It's not about the lunch, it's about the fact that you didn't think you could tell me. You lied by omission, Ryan, and that's what's eating at me. You work in a company. You have so many women there too, working with you. Did I ever say anything? Are you doubting me just because someone told you that I was on a lunch with a guy, when you clearly know this is my work? Yes, I know it's your work, but is it that hard to tell me whom you are with or what you're doing? He said, looking at you in disbelief while you were trying to control your emotions. Maybe if you weren't so controlling, I wouldn't feel like I had to hide things. You blurted out, the words left her mouth before you could stop them. The second they were out, you regretted it. Jungkook's eyes flashed with hurt, and for a moment the room went pin-drop silent. He stared at you while his expressions were unreadable before he took a deep step back. Controlling? He repeated quietly, almost to himself. That's how you see me? After everything we have been through, everything I have done, you think I'm controlling? Your chest tightened with guilt as you shook your head, trying to undo the weight of your words. Jungkook, I didn't mean it like that. I was angry, But that's how you feel. He cut you off. His voice was suddenly too calm, too composed, as if he was trying to keep himself from breaking. You feel like you can't be honest with me because I'm too controlling. You stepped closer to him. Desperation creeped into your voice. No, that's not it. I didn't tell you because I know this would happen. I didn't want to deal with this argument. You always overthink things when it comes to... I overthink because I love you. I care about you, about us, and it kills me to think you feel like you have to hide things from me. How am I supposed to feel, Ryan? How am I supposed to trust that this was just one lunch and nothing more when you didn't even tell me? Your frustration flared again. Your voice rose in response. Because I know you would react like this. You're suffocating me, Jungkook. Every time I make a decision without consulting you, you act like I'm betraying you. Suffocating you? He repeated. His voice was filled with disbelief as he stared at you. His eyes glistened with hurt. All I have ever wanted was to protect you, to be there for you. If that makes me suffocating, then I don't know what else to do. You turned away from him. Your hands were trembling as you struggled to keep your emotions in check. I didn't mean it like that. I just need some space sometimes. I don't need to tell you every little detail of my day. Jungkook ran a hand through his hair, pacing back and forth in frustration. It's not about space, Ryan, it's about communication. How are we supposed to build a life together if you can't even tell me something as simple as having lunch with a client? What else are you keeping from me? Nothing. I'm not keeping anything from you, Jungkook. Why can't you just trust me? You shouted as your voice cracked under the strain of the argument. I do trust you. His voice softened as he stopped pacing and stood still in the center of the room. But trust goes both ways. You didn't trust me enough to be open about something that clearly mattered to me. That's what hurts, Ryan. Due to anger, your breathing became more shallow. The familiar tightness in your chest intensified and you could feel the panic rising. But you pushed it down, too caught up in the argument to stop now. I didn't think it mattered. It was just one lunch. It mattered to me and you didn't care enough to tell me. That's the problem. There was pain in his voice. Your chest tightened further and you tried to take a deep breath to calm yourself, but it came out as a wheeze. The pressure in your lungs grew and your vision started to blur around the edges. You reached for your inhaler while your hands were trembling. Jungkook, but he was still caught up in his own frustration, not noticing the distress in your voice. What, Ryan? What now? You think you can just brush this under the rug and pretend it didn't happen? Jungkook, I can't breathe. Jungkook looked at you as he got silent for a second. You're faking it, aren't you? You always do this when you want to win an argument. You gripped your chest trying to suck in air, but it feels like your lungs were locking up. You opened your mouth to speak, but nothing came out. The panic in your eyes must have finally caught his attention because he stopped mid-sentence and his brows furrowed. Ryan, you're not faking it, right? Ryan. He got scared, but then his eyes grew wide with fear when he saw you struggling to breathe. Your hands started to shake when you tried to use your inhaler. Ryan, oh no. His voice changed quickly. All his anger was gone, replaced with worry. You couldn't talk. You were breathing in quick, short gasps, and your vision started to blur. Everything around you felt like it was spinning and your legs felt weak. Jungkook rushed to your side, catching you before you could fall to the floor. His hands were shaking as he grabbed the inhaler from you. His heart started beating fast as he tried to help you use it. Please, breathe, Ryan. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please, just breathe. His voice was filled with fear and I started to get teary. He's possessive just because he loves you so much but can never see you hurt, and right now he regrets for what he did. Even though you took a puff from the inhaler, it wasn't enough. Your chest still felt tight and the panic made it harder to breathe. Jungkook held you close. His face went pale with fear. I'm so sorry, love. I didn't know. I didn't realize it was this bad. His voice trembled. He helped you take another puff from the inhaler. His voice was soft but scared as he asked you to breathe again. You could feel his heart pounding as he held you tightly. Slowly the medicine began to help and your breathing got a little better. You took a deeper breath, though it still hurt. Your vision cleared a little and tears filled your eyes. Jungkook was still holding you close, whispering I'm sorry over and over. His voice was filled with worry and love, and he hugged you like he was afraid to let go. I'm so sorry, love. I didn't know you were struggling. I should have seen it. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you too much, Ryan. Please forgive me. Your chest still hurt and you were still breathing a little hard, but you nodded. Tears ran down your face as you leaned into him. I'm okay now, you whispered. But Jungkook didn't feel okay. His face was pale, his eyes filled with guilt for pushing you to this point. He gently stroked your hair, kissing your forehead softly as he held you closer, trying to make you feel better. I'll never let this happen again. I'm going to listen more. I can't lose you like this, Ryan. Tears welled up in his eyes, and before you knew it, they started to spill down his cheeks. Jungkook rarely cried, but the sight of you struggling to breathe had shaken him to his core. I almost lost you. I can't believe I didn't notice. I didn't listen to you. I thought you were faking it, Ryan. I'm so sorry. You're right. I think I'm failing to be a good husband. Jungkook's tears flowed down his face and you were shocked. He looked so scared and sad, completely different from the strong person you usually knew. It hurt your heart to see him like that. With a shaky hand, you reached up and wiped his tears away. Jungkook, please don't cry. It's not all your fault. I shouldn't have hidden things from you. I made you feel like you couldn't trust me, and that's wrong. He shook his head, still holding you tightly, like he was afraid to let go. I should have listened to you. I should have trusted you, but I got angry. I don't deserve your forgiveness. You started to cry too, not just because of the asthma attack, but because seeing Jungkook so upset made you feel sad. You held his hand, trying to make him feel better. No, Jungkook, it's not just you. I should have told you the truth about the lunch. I was scared of how you would react, but that wasn't fair. You're right, I'll never hide anything from you again. He looked at you with sad eyes. You don't have to promise that. I should have made you feel safe enough to tell me everything. I failed you. You didn't fail me, you said softly, keeping your hand on his cheek. We both made mistakes, but we can fix it. We love each other and that's what matters. We are going to be okay. Jungkook leaned into your hand while tears were still on his face as he closed his eyes. I love you so much, Ryan. I'm so sorry. I never want to hurt you again. I love you too. We'll be okay. You whispered, finally crying as you pressed your forehead against his. For a while you both held each other, your heads resting together, crying softly. The fight, the fear, the guilt, it all seemed to disappear as you held on to each other, knowing that you could get through anything together. After some time, Jungkook pulled back a little and gently wiped the tears from your face. He looked into your eyes. You okay now? You nodded, wiping his tears too. Yes, I'm fine. As long as we talk to each other, we'll always be okay. Jungkook hugged you tightly while his breath was still a little shaky but calmer now. I swear, Ryan, I'll never take you for granted. I'll always listen to you. And I promise I'll never hide anything. I'm sorry for behaving like that. It's okay, I'm not controlling Ryan. I just get jealous easily, and that's because I love you so much that I always want to be with you till my last breath. You smiled through your tears, resting your hand on his cheek. I'm always here with you, Jungkook. I love you equally and I'm not going to leave you until my last breath. Trust me. He nodded and held your hand before kissing your palm. I trust you always. I'm so lucky to have you, Ryan. You smiled through your tears, feeling his love surrounded you. We are lucky to have each other. In that moment, everything felt right again. Your love for each other was stronger than any fight or fear, and you both knew that as long as you had each other, nothing could tear you apart. We are going to hospital tomorrow, okay? You are scared of this? I'm alright. You caressed his cheek while tears were still there in his eyes. Jungkook didn't seem convinced. His grip tightened around your hand as he looked at you with a mix of sadness and guilt. I can't lose you. I didn't realize how bad it could get. And now seeing you like this, it's too much. I need to make sure you're safe. You could see how deeply it affected him. The tough, confident man you knew was gone, replaced by someone who was scared of you. Scared of not being able to protect you. You leaned closer, pressing your forehead against his as you softly spoke. Jungkook, I'm fine now. I promise. You don't need to worry so much. I should have told you more about my asthma, but it's not something that happens often. He closed his eyes, his jaw clenched as he whispered, but it happened today and I wasn't there for you. I was too caught up in being angry and I didn't even notice you were struggling to breathe. That's what scared me. Your heart broke for him as you saw how much he was blaming himself. You lifted his chin slightly, forcing him to meet your eyes. We are both learning, Jungkook. I should have told you I wasn't feeling well. and you'll learn to read me better. We'll be okay. We'll get through this together just like we always do. Jungkook nodded slowly, though the worry didn't leave his eyes. I just love you too much to risk it again, Ryan. I want to make sure you are alright. You sighed softly, knowing that he won't change his mind. Alright, we'll go to the hospital tomorrow, but you have to promise me something. He looked at you. Promise me you won't beat yourself up over this anymore. We'll take care of each other, okay? No more guilt. We both made a mistake, we learned something from it, and we both sorted it out. Now it's over, no one is going to hold the guilt back. Jungkook's expression softened as he nodded. I promise, he whispered, leaning in to kiss your forehead again. You smiled, feeling better as the heavy feeling from the night began to go away. Jungkook's arms were still wrapped tightly around you, making you feel safe, like he never wanted to let you go, and maybe just for tonight you wanted to stay in his arms and feel that comfort. After some time you both went to your bedroom and forgiving each other, you slept together. The morning sun poured through the window. As you walked into the kitchen, Jungkook was already there, leaning against the counter watching the coffee brew. His eyes softened when he saw you. Morning, baby. How are you feeling? Yesterday was scary, he said, coming over to you. You smiled, still a bit groggy from sleep. I'm better, don't worry. It wasn't your fault. Jungkook frowned slightly, brushing his hand gently over your back. I still feel bad. I couldn't sleep thinking about it. You placed your hand on his cheek, meeting his eyes. I'm okay now. Really, you helped me when I needed you. He leaned into your touch while his lips curved into a small smile. I'll always be there for you. You know that, right? You nodded while your heart felt lighter as you stood on your tiptoes and kissed his cheek. I know, and I'll always tell you when something's wrong. We are in this together, even on the bad days. Jungkook smiled, wrapping his arms around you, pulling you close. So pancakes for breakfast? He asked, trying to lighten the mood. You laughed softly. Oh really, Mr. John Jungkook, and pancakes? A mischievous smile appeared on his face. If you want both, we can start with me. This made you laugh wholeheartedly while he smiled, seeing you happy again. I will prefer my pancakes first. Jungkook is for the night. He giggled and kissed your forehead. Okay then, how about I make pancakes and you stay right here with me? You smiled, feeling his warmth around you. You want me to watch you cook? Jungkook leaned down, resting his forehead against yours. I just want you close. After yesterday, I don't want to let you go out of my sight. Your heart fluttered at his words. You're being a little cheesy, you know. He chuckled while his lips brushed lightly against yours. Maybe, but I mean it. I love waking up with you. I love knowing you're here, safe. You tilted your head, capturing his lips in a soft kiss. I love you too, even when you worry too much. Jungkook smiled against your lips, gently cradling your face with his hand. Can't help it, I'm just crazy about you. You laughed softly, wrapping your arms around his neck. Okay, Mr. Crazy, but I love you more. He smiled.